sorry to be making a video with no background, including the last one, but this story needs to be told because, at least to me, this is hilarious. Alright, so I randomly have been getting the urge for the last couple weeks to play RuneScape, which I used to play like all the time, but I haven't played in, well, I logged into my account, um, and it said I hadn't played in like 350 something days. I'm like, oh, so I haven't played in like a year. Um, So, alright, so I log in, right? And since about a year or two ago, they've had a grand exchange in RuneScape, which is basically like eBay, sort of kind of, where you can put your items in to be sold, and other people can buy them through kind of an eBay sort of thing. Except for you don't like know who they are or anything. You're not necessarily buying from one person. You just say, I want 7 of these, and then you purchase them. Um, but yeah, so I go back on, right, and I go, um, and in my bank, or this is my account that's like I'm like level 16 or something, um, because I was never like that into RuneScape, because pretty much everyone, all the players in there, are either level 4 or like level 30 something. Like there's not a lot of in between. There's mostly noobs and people who go on a lot. So which is pretty much every game generally, but whatever. And so I'm for some reason in the middle. And I go on, right? And there's this new thing on there since I haven't been on for like a year, called free samples, where if you go into a shop, they have like free samples where like you see all the items in the shop, and say it's the archery shop, you can have like free, they have like 30 free arrows up there and a couple free bows. So like you click on, and it says there's one bow in stock, right? You click it and then you get that bow for free. Like you just get a free bow. 30 arrows, I just right click it and say like take 50, because there's no like 30, but if you take more than there is, they just give you that amount. So I hit like take 50 and they give them all to me. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So the first time I saw this, it was in the archery shop, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess that's kind of cool. Like I'll just go shoot some stuff or whatever. And I figured, oh, since they're giving them away, that must mean that they're worth nothing if you sell them back, because obviously someone could just get them for free, so why would they pay for them? So it's like, oh, okay. Um, so then I'm just wandering around Varrock, which is the city in the top right of the map, of RuneScape. If you guys don't know about RuneScape, just don't watch this video. So or do, because it's kind of silly. Um, so all right, so I'm kind of just wandering around RuneScape because I haven't been here for a year, so I'm just kind of wandering around Varrock. I mean, I walk into the rune shop. Runes are these circular things that like you have to have, and they're different elements, each one of them. They're sort of different elements, and you have to have certain ones that do certain spells, right? I don't do anything really with magic on this account. I'm just like I pretty much just use a sword and stuff. But so it also has free samples in there of 30 30 air runes and 30 mind runes, right? These two are the most common because they're used to do the low level spells. So I was like, oh, I'll take these, because what if I need to do a spell or something? For some reason, I don't know. So I just figured, oh, better not pass it up. So I just grabbed these. Um, and then for some reason I end up back at the Grand Exchange, right? And just out of curiosity, I put in the air runes, and it says they're worth like 16 coins each, and I have 30. So I'm like, well, it's probably like where some things are worth money, but if you put them in, nobody buys them because nobody wants them. That's just what the exchange thinks they're worth. So I put those in, and immediately they're like all bought. So that's 30 times like 16. I forget how much money that was. It's like 700 or 800 something bucks. I was like, dude, like I have like 20,000 in the bank, but that's kind of a lot of money to get from that. So I was like, oh my gosh, I put the mind runes in. They don't get bought at all because evidently they're less popular or something. Or more easy to get. I have no idea. But anyway, so realizing this, I run back to that rune shop, and I'm taking the. Okay, so if you take 30 of the free samples, which is all of them in the shop, then I'm in the most populated world, right? Because I like there to be a lot of people. By the way, it used to be the most populated world had like a lot of people. Like almost all of the realms or whatever, all the servers had like 2,000 people in them most of the time, and you had to find usually like one that was less populated, except for I like to be in the more popular ones. Literally, the most populated one was number one. I was in server number one. How do you get into server number one? There's like 80 servers, right? More than that. There's like a ton of servers. I'm in server number one because that's how much RuneScape's popularity has gone down. Anyway, so there's other people in the shop with me, and they're not taking the free samples. I'm the only one that's taking them, but it's taking it a while. I figure maybe someone else is taking them because it's just like one of the people. Evidently, I'm the only one realizing this. One of the only ones, and because it's taking a while for that number to get back up to 30. So you take 30, and then like slowly, like one more comes up in the shop, like it's going back up. So taking it really slow, right? So I was like, oh, I have an idea, and I logged out. I came back into a server with like 200 people in it, right? Like the UK or something. And in the shop, I take like there's 30 of both of the rune things. So I take 30 air, immediately 30 are there again. So I just keep taking them until I have like 1,000 air runes. I run like I literally wait there for my cuz all right, so when you want to run on that game, you have to set this run you have to put the run setting on, but you can't run for a long time. And this is such a bitch on this game, and I don't know why they do this. But you have like 100% run, right? And the more you run, the more that goes down, and when it hits zero, you have to walk for a while and let your run go back up because you ran out of energy or something, which is just lame. Like, does World of Warcraft do that? No, but RuneScape does. Anyway, so basically, I run back up. So I wait until my run thing hits 100. So I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh. And then I ran all the way back up to the Grand Exchange, put in 1,000 air runes. Almost just immediately, they all get bought. That's 16,000 bucks right there, because they were all for 16. So I just made 16, yeah, 16,000 in like 2 seconds. So I was like, whoa, I have to do this again. So I go back to, what shop was I in? I went back to, I think, the archery shop, and I went to take like 30 arrows, right? Because I had also sold the archery stuff, and it sold for money. So, I figured I'd pick up some of those. So I picked up like a bunch of arrows, right? Like 30 of them. And then and I'm still in the small realm with like 200 people. And instead of popping back up to 30 again, it went back up to like 1. And like it wasn't even, so I was like, oh crap. So and then I grabbed the bows, and once again they're taking a long time to go back up. And I go to sell one to the shop because I did this earlier, and the shopkeepers will also buy them for money for like no reason. And I said info about this item, which basically means they're going to tell you how much money it's worth. I said info about this item. And I said it's worth 0 gold. So I was like, oh, what? And I ran to the rune shop, grabbed like 30 air runes. Once again, 30 don't come right back up. It's taking a long time. And I go to sell one to the shop because once again I did this before and the shop said they'd buy it for like 16 coins. It's like, awesome. And I just went to the Grand Exchange so I could sell them all at once. And when you sell stuff in a shop, the first one's worth like 16. Then the more you sell, the less they're worth to the shop, which is just annoying. So just go to the Grand Exchange. You can sell them all for one price. Anyway, so I go to sell it back to them, and they're like, oh, it's worth 0. And then I go to the Grand Exchange and put in like maybe 90 air runes, and they're like, they don't get bought at all. He's like, oh, well, I guess the game glitched out for a couple minutes where those were worth money, and then quickly like figured out that they weren't. I was like, oh, well, at least I made 16,000 gold like out of a glitch. That's pretty awesome. So now I have like 40,000 something gold in my bank, which is just cool. Like, so yeah, I go back on RuneScape after not going on for a year and make 16,000 gold the first like 20 minutes I'm on. It's pretty awesome.